Patch 3.1 will be giving a free S-Rank Selector. You will also get a Selector with your weapons. So, what should you pick? Before I begin, let me preface this by saying none of the advice I say takes priority to picking your favorite because it does you no good if my recommendation is just something you don't like. From a strict meta perspective, from the character selector, the answer is just Lucia. If you don't own Lucia, she's a good upgrade over Panda, especially if you don't have his M6. And if you do own Lucia, I consider Lucia M1 one of the best mindscapes in the game because the decibel gain enables rotations that otherwise wouldn't be possible, on top of the standard support mindscape of 18 red shred being very good. In addition, while the decibel gain is not a direct damage boost, another way to frame the damage boost you get out of it is being able to ult on all 4 stun windows compared to only having ult for 3. Lucia M2 is also really strong, but since it's just a damage boost, this mindscape isn't very interesting to talk about. Now there are a couple of other situations where I'd look at other choices. The first one would be if you do not own any premium retro characters or do not care about their teams and feel that the Panda or whoever else you're using is doing a good enough job for you. Then Lucia has almost no value to you at all. In this situation, the next highest value choice would be the M2 merchants in Jane Doe and Hugo. Jane Doe has already been added to the shop, so if by using the selector you can get your Jane Doe or Hugo to M2, that is the highest priority. I call them M2 merchants because their power level is lackluster at M0, but M2 provides a very strong power boost. Jane Doe in particular is a very appealing choice. Felina already provided her with a massive power boost, and Remiel will do the same. M2 Jane, Felina, and Remiel will be one of the best teams in the game, so if your choice is between M2 Jane and Lucia, then it comes down to whether or not you want to improve your Rupture or Anomaly team. This is a personal choice, so I won't offer more input there. Do note, if the selector won't get you M2, then I wouldn't pick these characters. Next, I would go for Trigger. Her M1 is strong, and while she isn't best in slot for many teams anymore, she is still good enough to get the job done at M0. She's outclassed by other premium stunners for most teams nowadays, but if you need another support, Trigger is solid. She's easy to play, and will be a direct upgrade to a budget option like Pulcra, Orclade, or Lucy every single time. Unfortunately, I can't really find a situation to recommend Soldier 0 A and B. She's just kind of outclassed at this point, even in her good matchups. You could consider her if you picked up Orphe by mistake in 2.8 and don't want her to feel homeless, I guess. The same goes for Hugo at M0. Before I get to weapons, one more thing to note is that if you are eyeing Remiel and want a premium anomaly DPS but do not own one, I would not go for Jane Doe unless you can get her to M2. At M0, you're probably better off just using Piper. She is getting a buff, but considering Piper is basically just as good already, I don't think the buff changes this very much. So in summary, Lucia M0 greater than or equal to Jane M2, greater than or equal Lucia M1, greater than M2, greater than Trigger, greater than everything else. Now for the weapons. Assuming you own none of them and have the corresponding agents, the weapons follow a simple tier list. Lucia, Trigger, Hugo, and Invi are tied, then Jane's is last. Trigger's is technically the most important engine, but she's a weaker teammate, so I put that priority down. I don't consider Lucia's engine essential, but she's a strong teammate, so there's no reason to not get it for her if you don't already have it. The only situation you can maybe skip it is if you have a max dupe Weeping Cradle and Yusa isn't using it, because the performance, while still worse than Lucia's signature, is pretty close, but again, it's free, so why not take it? Jane's signature is the lowest priority because it's actually just not even very good even for her. It requires dash attacks and dodge counters to maintain uptime, which is very annoying and also something that's easy to forget to do. You're better off using a Weeping Gemini or Alice 6 signature if you have it. However, like I mentioned earlier, Jane is getting a buff. If this involves changing abilities to counter dash attacks, her signature actually becomes a little better. However, I'd still rate this at the bottom because you can get her engine from the collectible shop with chips for free without using the selector on it. Finally, what if you already own these engines? The answer is pretty simple in that the only engine I think is worth giving a dupe is Trigger. Fun fact, Trigger's mindscapes beyond N1 are so bad that she gets more from giving her weapon dupes than getting more mindscapes. If you don't want to do that, just follow the priority I listed earlier. Hopefully this helped you, and if it did, leave a like and a subscribe. I have a lot more content planned, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss that. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments and I'll do my best to help you. I have a Discord community where you can ask me or my community questions too. Until next time, thanks for watching.